The U.S. rescue mission has taken a dark turn as shocking claims emerge from Iranian military sources detailing alleged operational mishaps. A new report alleges U.S. forces struck their own downed pilot's hideout in Iran's Kogaluyeh and Boyar province to prevent capture. After a failed extraction attempt, American jets reportedly bombed the suspected location of the missing F-15E crew member. Hundreds of American special forces and warplanes scrambled in a high-stakes race to recover the airman amid intense Iranian pursuit. This CSAR operation reveals how perilously close the U.S. came to losing a valuable pilot deep within hostile Iranian territory. As the U.S. flaunts successful rescue operation for one of its downed pilots, a shocking claim has emerged from Iranian state media raising new questions about the conduct of the mission. According to the Tasnim news agency, U.S. forces attempted to kill the second pilot during the same rescue effort, alleging that American forces later shifted their approach once the operation did not go as planned. The report claims that after the initial rescue attempt failed to reach the missing pilot, U.S. forces launched airstrikes in the Kogaluyeh region of southwestern Iran, targeting several suspected hiding areas. These strikes were allegedly carried out under the belief that the pilot from the downed F-15E might still be evading capture in that area, even though no official confirmation of his exact location has been provided. Sources cited by Tasnim state that U.S. jets bombed multiple locations in Kogaluyeh province in the late hours of April 4th, focusing on terrain believed to offer cover for a downed aircrew. Iranian reporting frames this as an attempt by the United States to prevent the pilot from being captured by Iranian or local militia forces, treating capture as a greater strategic risk than his survival. The claims also include reports of civilian casualties, with Tasnim stating at least 3 local residents were killed and 2 more injured in the course of these airstrikes. It is important to note that these allegations have not been independently verified by Hindustan Times or other major international outlets, and the US has not yet given a detailed public response. However, if these accounts are accurate, such an action would represent a highly controversial and morally sensitive shift in how US military doctrine is applied to search and rescue scenarios. Analysts and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, have described the downing of the US jet inside Iran as a major turning point in the war, altering the regional balance of perceptions and risks.
The so-called rescue operation of the U.S. Army, which was planned under the guise of an immediate free-and-escape operation on the pretext of rescuing its downed aircraft pilot at an abandoned airport in southern Isfahan, ended in complete failure with the timely presence of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Following prior information and further examinations by experts present at the scene, it was determined that 2 C-130 military aircraft and 2 Black Hawk helicopters of the U.S. Army were destroyed through the fulfillment of promise and help of Almighty God, as well as the sacred wrath of the soldiers of Islam and the powerful armed forces. This action increased the level of repeated failures of the U.S. Army. It became clear to all that the cowardly and defeated U.S. Army, in this imposed war, is not considered a dominant or superior force in the face of the divine will of the Iranian armed forces. Following this glorious and victorious operation, the defeated U.S. president, hastily and falsely, through psychological warfare, tries to escape from the scene of defeat and, like in the past, continues his absurd claims and deflections. Although the reality of the battlefield itself demonstrates the superiority of the powerful armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
However, as President Trump has stated, U.S. forces have safely recovered a second airman who was downed inside Iran on April 5th, marking a major development. One of the most daring search and rescue operations in U.S. history, Trump wrote on Truth Social, describing the mission as a high-stakes, precision-coordinated operation behind enemy lines. Dozens of aircraft, armed with the most lethal weapons in the world, used to retrieve him, Trump added, portraying the rescue as a large-scale, heavily supported operation involving multiple assets and platforms. Planet Labs said it will indefinitely withhold satellite imagery of Iran and the wider conflict area. The move followed a U.S. request to satellite firms for an indefinite withhold of imagery, according to reports. The California-based company announced the decision in an email to customers, according to reporting cited by the Times of Israel. The new restriction expands an earlier 14-day delay already imposed on Middle East imagery. Planet Labs said the move was meant to prevent adversaries from using the images to attack the United States and its allies. Reports citing Planet Labs said the restriction applies retroactively from March 9, 2026. Planet Labs also said it would shift to a managed distribution of images rather than a normal release system. Under that approach, requests could still be considered for urgent, mission-critical, or public interest cases. Planet Labs said, and I quote, "These are extraordinary circumstances, and we are doing all we can to balance the needs of all our stakeholders." Unquote. This blackout reduces public and commercial visibility into battlefield damage inflicted by Iran across the conflict zone. Militaries use satellite technology for target identification, weapons guidance, missile tracking, and communication support. Analysts say Iran could still be accessing commercial imagery, including imagery obtained through U.S. adversaries or other indirect channels. That matters because Iran has repeatedly claimed successful strikes on U.S. assets and military targets in the region. The number of U.S. service members wounded in the ongoing Iran war has risen to 365, according to newly released Pentagon figures. The Pentagon disclosed those casualty figures as part of its reporting on Operation Epic Fury. The breakdown given was 247 Army personnel, 63 Navy personnel, 90 Marines, and 36 Air Force personnel wounded in action. The official U.S. death toll remained at 13 service members, according to the same Pentagon data. That official tally differs from the much higher losses Iran has projected since the war began.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.